everybody, welcome to another episode of Wahoos Weekly, your weekly in-depth look at the Pensacola Blue Wahoos, both on the field and off. I'm Blue Wahoos broadcaster Erik Bremer. Usually my co-host is Charlie Hobart, but Charlie's out in Hollywood this week, appearing in a music video. Bill Vilona, senior writer, Pensacola Sports Hall of Famer. Have you ever appeared in a music video?
Erik, it would have to be one that was not only unauthorized, but one that never showed me. And like I always say, I had a face and voice for a keyboard, not anything on a screen. So, but I'm happy to join you, and I'm certainly glad for Charlie. He does have the knack for a camera.
Well, yeah, a lot to talk about with the Blue Wahoos. Coming out of the All-Star break, the Blue Wahoos are this week at home against the Montgomery Biscuits, and each of the last two times the Blue Wahoos have made the playoffs, they have faced the Montgomery Biscuits. Biscuits have made it to the playoffs every year for the last decade. It seems like they are going to be one of the chief opponents of the Blue Wahoos in the race for that second half playoff spot. What have you seen about the Blue Wahoos coming out of the All-Star break that gives you hope that the Blue Wahoos this year will be better than the Montgomery Biscuits?
Well, you know, Erik, I think the big thing is the overall run production is up. We have there's been some great additions, one of whom, Brandon Compton, has made a big impact, obviously. Arquette, who got hurt and is on the injured list, hopefully will be back in sometime in August. He's been a big addition. I think overall, though, the run production, the ability in that lineup right now from 1 to 9 to hit a home run is there, and I think that's a big factor. So hopefully, you know, they've had some really great performances, great games at the plate. You've chronicled. We've set records this year at the plate. So I think that to me gives hope, and then also if it's all dependent upon obviously starting pitching and bullpen. And at times that has been pretty consistent.
Well, by the time this airs, this game will have already been completed, but this week's series against the Montgomery Biscuits actually had to resume the last series against the Montgomery Biscuits. I wasn't there, you were. It was the proverbial dark and stormy night where the Blue Wahoos and Biscuits were tied 2-2 in the bottom of the ninth inning, and the Wahoos had the winning run at second, but then the skies opened up. So take me through that experience, because I was listening on the radio.
Well, you know, it's unbelievable because the Blue Wahoos had taken a 2-0 lead at the bottom of the seventh. Okay, so at that point, I see our groundskeeper, Willie Lawrence, go out to the umpires. And when he does that, it's never good because he's out there to tell them, hey, weather's coming. So sure enough, and this has happened once before in my time with the Wahoos, Montgomery's at the plate. One run, the home run is hit, and then there was I'm trying to piece myself through this inning, a walk, maybe a wild pitch. Anyway, another runner is in scoring position. The game gets tied. So at this point, you're thinking, oh boy. And so then Blue Wahoos weren't able to tie it in the bottom of the eighth, obviously. And then we go to the ninth, and that's when the skies open, sure enough. And it's like, I can't believe this. And you knew, of course, when that happened, there was no way to get the game resumed because the tarp, although our team, which is incredible, we have an incredible staff. I mean, they were out there doing everything they could to get that tarp on and covered. It just didn't happen. We got it almost, but it wasn't. There was no way the field could have been playable that night. So it's just one of those unbelievable, never forget moments. It happened once before in my time with the Blue Wahoos. Same thing, you know, Blue Wahoos had taken the lead, 2 outs. The game would have been over had the third out been recorded. It was not recorded. That sent the game into the next day. So it's just one of those quirks in baseball. I mean, you've got to finish the inning, and if it's tied, it's tied, and you got to resume it. So fortunately, though, what made it, I guess, a little different is that we knew rain was coming, and sure enough, I mean, it just hit, and that was one of the hardest, most severe thunderstorms I think I have seen in a while at Blue Wahoos Stadium.
Well, just one of those years where the Blue Wahoos have already had 4 rainouts at home, and really out of our control. But again, by the time this airs, that game will have been completed. And something tells me that the Blue Wahoos will be aggressive swinging at the first strike they see to try and end that game with a Wahoos walk-off win. In that same weekend, Blue Wahoos got to see a former player, Carson Milbrandt, appear in the All-Star Futures game in Philadelphia. And while he's now since long gone from Pensacola, hopefully on his way to the big leagues, Bill, it was great to see Carson Milbrandt in his time with the Blue Wahoos and now hopefully building towards that next level.
Yeah, I think the Blue Wahoos, as a Marlins affiliate, we've been blessed to see some really big-time pitchers, beginning with Max Meyer the very first year, and then you had obviously Yuri Perez, and then Carson, but and I'm drawing
Thomas White, Robbie Snelling.
Thomas White and Robbie Snelling. These were guys that you knew were going to get to the big leagues, and sure enough, I do think Carson Milbrandt is on his way. Now, AAA has been a little bit of a challenge, and that's not abnormal, really. I think that's typical because players at that level are obviously even closer to the major leagues, a lot more patient at the plate, swing at less bad pitches. All of that combined, it tends to make a pitcher have to make adjustments. But Carson, 22 years old, I mean, it just reminds me of this parade of talent that there's been on the mound for the Blue Wahoos, and obviously within the Marlins organization. They have drafted really good arms, and you can never have enough, obviously, because you don't know when an injury is going to occur.
Well, you mentioned the name Max Meyer. He was one of 4 former Blue Wahoos who was named to the All-Star team in Philadelphia. And while Max Meyer himself didn't pitch, we got to see Luis Arraez, who might be on his way to another batting title, and a couple other former players, Raisel Iglesias among them, and Joan Duran. It's great to see former Blue Wahoos having success, and we know that there might be a couple future All-Stars on this year's team.
Right, and let me say, Luis Arraez, the guy, when he played here in 2019, was phenomenal, and he has been unbelievable as a major league player. I mean, think about this. Guy's been on 5 different teams and 4 different All-Stars. I mean, it's just amazing what his career has been in a short time. So it was fun watching him play, and he certainly was a guy you knew was destined to be very good in the big leagues.
One guy that the Blue Wahoos lost during the All-Star break to a promotion, a well-deserved one, was Cam Cannarella. And if we're speaking of Cam in the past tense, what a run it was. It was only a little more than a month that he was in a Blue Wahoos uniform, but at or near the top of not just the team, but the Southern League and all of AA in terms of offensive output. He impressed defensively as well, and he played with a fire that I think we're always looking to see at AA.
Yeah, he got off the bus when he got here and immediately started swinging the bat well. I mean, I remember, he was part of that game in Birmingham, the Rickwood game, which was historic in terms of the Blue Wahoos win and runs scored and all that. He had a role in that. Really, that guy from the very get-go was outstanding, and just like Brandon Compton has been. And I think that's a tribute to how well these guys have made an adjustment from college ball. It's hard to believe in 1 year. In 1 year, these guys have done this. They were drafted, and a year later, they're on the verge of getting to the big leagues.
Well, you mentioned the name Brandon Compton. He will be our guest on the other side of this break. It's been impressive to see him. He's obviously a very talented hitter who hits a lot of home runs, but we kind of expected to see strikeouts with that. And the fact that he has done more offensively at the AA level than we initially expected is a testament to his work ethic and his breakout potential.
He is a guy that's dangerous every time he's up, and that's really special. That says a lot about him. And I'm with you, Erik. I mean, usually the norm is that a guy will get to AA and there's going to be adjustments. There hasn't been any adjustments for Brandon. Again, just like Cam Cannarella, got off the bus, started swinging the bat just like it was in his backyard, really.
Yeah, a home run in his AA debut, a grand slam a couple days later, and then coming out of the All-Star break in Biloxi, tied a single-game franchise record with 6 RBI in a single night. When we come back, we'll talk with Brandon Compton here on Wahoos Weekly.
At A1 Automotive, we do it all kinds of repairs for all kinds of vehicles. We do AC repairs, we do suspensions, we do pre-purchase inspections. We'll diagnose your problem and get it fixed. Free brake inspection. We can provide financing for any work we do. Veteran-owned, military, and first responders discounts. A1 Automotive, 403 Beverly Parkway, Pensacola.
Gill Marine, your one-stop shop for all your boating needs. We offer a vast selection of parts, accessories, and electronics. Discover our range of used boats in every size, shape, and brand, all ready to get you on the water today. And we provide expert advice and top-notch customer service to ensure you have the best boating experience. We service all outboard, inboards, stern drives, jet drives, and personal watercraft. Our certified staff will get you back on the water. Visit Gill Marine at 3541 West Fairfield Drive, Pensacola.
Empire Truck Sales, located at 2255 West Detroit Boulevard in Pensacola, is your Freightliner, Western Star, Detroit Diesel, and Cummins dealer for Northwest Florida. Open 7 days a week, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., Saturdays and Sundays, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., providing sales, service, and parts. Empire Truck Sales is also your Oasis dealer for Freightliner custom chassis RV and motorhome repairs. Running I-10 will get you in.
Nestled in the heart of Pensacola, Dorothy's is a one-of-a-kind, community-driven cocktail bar by Oasis, Florida, created to sustain vital HIV and STI care across the Florida Panhandle. Inspired by the Wizard of Oz, rooted in inclusion, and dripping with character, Dorothy's is a welcoming space with award-winning Oz-inspired cocktails, food by Steel Pony Diner, and an unmatched atmosphere. Join us 7 days a week in downtown Pensacola, located directly across from Maritime Park and the Blue Wahoos Stadium.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Wahoos Weekly. I'm Blue Wahoos broadcaster Erik Bremer, and this week our special guest is the red-hot outfielder for the Pensacola Blue Wahoos, Brandon Compton. Brandon, thanks for joining us.
No problem. Glad to be here.
It's been a fun start for you at AA, hitting a lot of home runs and doing everything I'm sure you wanted to do when you got that call to AA. How's it been so far in Pensacola?
I mean, it's been awesome. Going from Beloit to here, the weather's nice. You're close to the beach. It's a good experience. I know a lot of the players from spring training, and it's just a good group.
Well, speaking of nice weather, I want to start at the beginning. You grew up in Arizona, and that's a great place to cultivate baseball talent. It's no accident
100%.
that a lot of people who grew up in Arizona have become baseball players. You can play year-round. You've got access to spring training games in March. You can watch the fall league in the fall. How did you fall in love with the game of baseball?
Started at a young age, around 6 years old, and in Arizona you can play all year. It's pretty hot, but there's no weather to slow you down. So it's been all year from that point on, and just having fun doing it.
Who did you kind of model your game after?
I mean, growing up, I love watching Harper, Trout. Those were like my guys watching. So obviously those are two studs, but it's just watching the game and liking who you see.
You had the opportunity to follow a major league team in the Arizona Diamondbacks, but you also got to follow a pretty big-time college program in Arizona State, and probably your dream school. It ended up being a
100%.
dream come true for you to get to Arizona State. Take me through that recruitment process.
Yeah, so I was committed to San Diego at first. That was before COVID, and then after COVID, I decommitted from them. Arizona State reached out. I was able to commit to my dream school, which was awesome. It's right down the road from home. So, it was a dream come true, and I was able to play there, close to home.
What kind of resources did they have at Arizona State to make you a better baseball player?
I mean, I went there kind of as a two-way, a pitcher, kind of mainly, honestly. I was kind of undersized, and I got Tommy John my senior year of high school, so on senior night. So I used that whole year as a development curve. I was able to lift a ton, eat well, just learn from all the outstanding players we had there that year at the time, and just learn about what college baseball is like. And I was able to use that learning time to work on my game and improve. And coming sophomore year, I was a better hitter than pitcher, and I kind of quit pitching and started hitting full time.
In a world where you didn't have Tommy John surgery, do you think you had what it took to become a professional pitcher?
I don't know. I mean, you see pitching nowadays, it's nasty stuff. Everyone throws hard. So I don't know if I had that in the tank, but I mean, everything works out for a reason, and I'm just glad to be doing what I'm doing.
You had plenty in the tank at the draft combine and all these showcase events. They measure things that they never were able to measure before.
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of exit velocity, raw power, you were at the top of the charts. At what point did you realize that you had that ability to be a top of the line slugger?
I mean, honestly, in high school and stuff, I hit home runs, but I wasn't like a crazy home run hitter. It was after my freshman year, I put on some weight. I grew up a little bit, and I remember hitting BP, and it was coming off pretty good. So I went to the Northwoods. I hit good there. I hit good at ASU, the Cape. It was a good opportunity, and I was able to learn what I have.
Cape League, Northwoods League, the big thing there is you're swinging a wood bat, often for the first time.
Yeah.
How did that adjustment go? Not just facing really good quality competition, but also changing literally the equipment that you're asked to use.
It's different. Obviously, metal bats are fun. There's more of a sweet spot, but I did good with the wood bat, and I feel like that was a great experience for me to kind of get used to a wood bat and prepare me for professional baseball.
It was also an opportunity for you to play away from home. I mean,
Yeah.
it's obviously a great blessing to play so close to home in college, but
Yeah.
going away to the Northwoods League and going away to the Cape League, that is a personal development thing as well for you to be so far from home. How did that go for you?
No doubt. I mean, the Northwoods League, that was like my first time away from home. So it was cool. We lived in some dorms in like a close college town. And I mean, you ride buses, you're around the guys. So it's a good experience. And in the Cape, I had a host family. They were awesome. It was cool.
Well, yeah, it's a good taste of what was to come.
Yeah.
Minor league
No doubt.
baseball, and when the Miami Marlins came calling on draft day, what was your reaction, and how did that draft day experience compare to maybe what you were dreaming of as a kid?
I mean, it was pretty cool. It was pretty low key. I didn't really know what was to happen on that day, so it was just my family and my girlfriend, honestly, and it was just a chill time. I wasn't chilling out, but I was just around the phone and just watching the draft. So it was a cool experience. It's the dream you always dream of as a kid. Getting your name called and playing professional baseball. So it was a dream come true.
Did you find out with a phone call or watching TV?
Uh, Through my agent, I kind of knew what was going to happen and the route that was going to happen. So I was able to kind of get an understanding, and I remember telling my parents to watch the TV.
Well, you got drafted by the Marlins, and it's been a pretty successful 2025 draft for the Miami Marlins so far. A lot of those top guys, yourself included, have already reached Double-A. One of the things that the Marlins started doing a couple years ago was after they signed all their draft picks, they just put them in one place and kind of gave them almost like a freshman year orientation type of experience. So what was that like for you, and how did that compare to maybe what you expected in your first taste of pro ball?
I really enjoyed it. It was a good time to meet everyone. Our whole draft class was college players, so we kind of all came from similar environments and stuff. So it was cool. We got to go to Miami. We went and ate at some good restaurants. We got to work out on the field, kind of get a glimpse at what it's like at that stadium, and we watched a couple games. It was awesome. I really enjoyed it, and it kind of just gave me a taste of what's to come. And that's the dream, obviously, is playing on that stage. So you go from there, you go to Jupiter, and it's a different environment, obviously, and then you just you grind away.
That's something that's kind of unique to the Marlins, but something that is not unique to the Marlins is anytime a player gets drafted by a pro organization, they're kind of sat down and told, okay, this is what we see in you, this is what we think you can be. So what did the Marlins tell you they were trying to develop in you that gave them so much confidence to draft you in the first place?
I mean, I feel like it was obviously hitting. That's kind of my main thing. But honestly, that first little glimpse of the season that I had last year after the draft and stuff, they kind of just let us all go out and play, which was nice. Just kind of they can see what our routine is like and what we like to do before games, after games, all that stuff. So I feel like I was able to learn about the pro game. They were able to learn about me, and I was able to kind of sit down with them on a Zoom meeting and stuff over the off season and learn about what I need to improve on and all that stuff.
You referenced way back in high school you had Tommy John surgery and handed that big lemon. You were able to turn it into lemonade because you worked on your strength and you developed some other things because you couldn't play baseball at the time. Similar situation happened for you in spring training. You had a hamate bone injury, which is very frequent among baseball players. And so you were unable to swing a bat for a while. How did you take that bad break and turn it into something positive?
It was very similar to the Tommy John. I told my parents about that. It's like, you get hurt and then you kind of have that opportunity to kind of sit back, once again, watch spring training, see how everyone's doing, what the environment's like. And we had an awesome rehab team. I was able to get my hand taken care of really well. The food was awesome. I was able to take advantage of that. The lifting coach and the staff was amazing as well. So I used that time to really focus on my body and get into a good physical state for the season. So when it was time to start swinging and stuff, obviously there's a little bit of rust you got to get off and all that, but and same for the outfield and just playing the game. But I feel like physically I was in a good spot and mentally ready to go.
There's an emphasis on swinging hard in today's game, and understandably so, but we've also seen an uptick in those hamate bone breaks with so many hitters suffering that injury. Blue Wahoos actually have another player, Dylan Lewis, recovering from that. And the one thing that everyone seems to understand is that initially coming back, you don't have quite the raw strength or power in your swing as you did beforehand. How did you experience that plateau, and how did you get back to where you now are? Because clearly you've got enough power to hit plenty of home runs.
Yeah, so it was a little tender at first. I mean, you see like on the numbers and stuff, your bat speed's back, all that stuff, and your exit velocity, but it's just a little tender. I mean, you had surgery 5 weeks ago, and that's like in your hands. You play baseball with your hands, so it just it felt a little weird and a little discomfort. But in Beloit, the trainer, the hitting coach, they were awesome about listening to about my body and what my hand needs and stuff. So we were able to kind of work around that. I mean, those were my first games in the beginning of Beloit in that freezing cold weather. So we were able to work around it, and it took a little bit of time, but I was feeling good and got back to where I needed to be.
That first time you got jammed with a wooden bat in your hands playing in 40 degrees in April in Wisconsin probably didn't feel so good.
No, I actually broke a bat that day, and it did not feel good.
Well, if you look at your stat line, everything kind of makes sense based on the type of player that one would imagine you to be. The homers, the RBI, on base, all that. The one thing that doesn't necessarily track until people see you play in person is the stolen base numbers, because that's kind of a sneaky thing that you bring to the table. It's something that the Marlins are emphasizing throughout the organization. You're a good athlete, but how are the Marlins making you a better base runner than you were initially when you came into the pro game?
Yeah, I feel like I was always, sneaky fast for my size, but I feel like the Marlins do a great job of, using your abilities and maximizing them. So I feel like, through base running, they're able to, mathematically find ways to, beat the time from the pitch to the catcher throwing it down. So I feel like they do a great job of that, giving you the right opportunities to do that and succeed. So it's been once again, more learning, obviously, finding ways to improve your game, but it's been great.
Took a while to get going in Beloit, but then as the weather warmed up, you warmed up, and you clearly earned your promotion to Double-A. Take me through the adjustments to Double-A. Clearly, it isn't as easy as you've made it look, but what have you seen at Double-A that maybe was different from what you experienced in the Midwest League?
I feel like just the fundamentals of the game have improved. I feel like it's in college it's a very fundamental game, and then in the beginning stages of the minor leagues, I feel like it's super talented, but the fundamentals aren't as up to speed as it was in college, because that's expected over there. But I feel like just the routine plays and stuff have improved. Obviously, the pitchers, they're pitching to get you out a little bit more, and they're filling up the zone. So it's just a crispier style of play.
Well, we've seen the Blue Wahoos playing competitive baseball here down the stretch, and by the time we talk and this airs, it'll be in early August, well into the so-called playoff hunt. I know that it's always more fun for players when the games have stakes.
Yeah.
How do you try and channel that energy of the excitement of the playoff hunt into individual performance?
Yeah, I mean, it just comes down to one game at a time, one pitch at a time. I feel like if you just keep it that way and just try and win each moment, then you'll be where you need to be. Nelly, the whole staff, it's very process driven. We're just trying to win what we can control, in. So I feel like just doing that, doing our best, throwing strikes, moving the ball as an offense, fielding the ball. I feel like that's all we can control and do.
I've asked this question of a couple different outfielders that we've had on the show. On the day that we're taping this, we've got tropical storm winds in the city of Pensacola, and that can sometimes help an offense. It can sometimes hurt an offense. I know one thing, it makes it very difficult to track fly balls in the Blue Wahoo Stadium outfield. So how has it been defensively playing at Blue Wahoo Stadium?
There's definitely a lot more wind here for sure. It blows across. So I haven't seen wind obviously like this, from this storm, but excited to see what it looks like this week.
Well, you get to the big leagues and you'll be playing your home games in an artificial environment
That's
with
the
a
goal.
retractable roof.
Yeah.
So, speaking of goals, you've gotten to Double A this year at midseason. I'm sure the hope is to get to Triple A and beyond. But what did you set out to do at the beginning of this season, and how far are you towards making those goals a reality?
I mean, for me, it's a lot, just process goals, doing what I can control, staying healthy and all that. A goal was to, reach Double A, which was awesome, being able to do that and play in this league. So once again, it's just staying with what I can control, one pitch at a time, and doing my best to maximize every moment in the game.
Arizona State runs deep in the pro game. You've got a lot of former players, former teammates, former roommate, in fact, who's in the pro game. How fun is it to see your former college classmates also succeed and be on that same track as you?
It's awesome. The program does a great job of developing players. They did great again this year in the draft. Someone just got called up, Christian Curtis for the Pirates. He just got called up like last week. So it's just a great environment, a lot of professional baseball players around there, and you can see why they develop really well.
Well, speaking of great environments, the Blue Wahoos fan base is so supportive of this team. How have you enjoyed playing here in Pensacola and being part of this tight-knit community?
It's been great. The fans are awesome. It's just a great town. Obviously, there's a lot of fans, obviously, and it means a lot. I feel like there's a lot more, cheering and all that stuff. So it's been awesome.
Well, if you haven't seen Brandon play yet, get out to the ballpark soon, because the way he's playing and the way he's hitting home runs, he might not be here for long. Brandon, thanks for joining us here on Wahoos Weekly.
Awesome. Thank you.
And thank you for joining us as well.